Are you wondering how to create a project tracker in Excel? Perhaps something like this. Well, if that's the case, then you've come to the right place, because today I'm going to be showing you exactly how to build this step by step. Now, if you want this template without having to go through the arduous process of following what I do, then you can click the link in the description below and you can download this tracker for a small fee. It will be under the price of a cup of coffee, and that does help support me and my channel, so I would really appreciate it, and it will save you a lot of time as well. But if you do have a little bit of time available, then I'm going to show you how we can set all of this up, including all of the important functionalities which will help make this more automated and visually appealing. So with that said, let's delve into a brand new Excel sheet. So the first thing that I've done is I've saved this file. Of course, you don't need to be reminded of that, but I would recommend that before you begin, you save a new copy just so that you don't lose any of your work. From there, it's always a good idea to choose a font that you may like. I think Calibri is very good. It's very professional, so I'm going to be using that for this tutorial. So one thing you can do at the start is name your tab at the bottom. We could put project tracker here, and this can be particularly effective if we want to create project trackers for multiple projects and have them kind of simultaneously aligned at the bottom here in separate sheets, so we can choose between them. That is an option. Bear in mind, this is a tracker that has worked for me in my organization. There's various different templates out there, but this is the one that I use and personally believe has everything that you're going to want to include. So the first thing I recommend that you do is you simply put at the top a reference to exactly what this is all about. So I like to bold this and I like to make this very, very large. So what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to just be doing this just to show you how to quickly expand the size. So this is in Calibri. We could change the font color to a gray, or an in between a gray and a black, and that just kind of helps us to it just makes it look a little bit neater if you like. So here are the recommended columns, and I'm going to be showing you the formatting that I'm going to suggest as we go along. Now here is a quick tip that you may not know already, and this is how to insert checkboxes in Excel, and we're going to use this for the first recommended column, which is at risk. We want to be able to specify any projects or tasks on the task level that are at risk. So to do that, what you may need to do, you may not have done this already, I have, but you may need to alter your ribbon on your Excel. So to do that, if you right click at the top, on the ribbon I should say, you will see the options, that's right click on my mouse, customize the ribbon. We want to click this, and what you want to select is developer. So if you don't have it on, it won't appear at the top. So let's go through that again, right click, customize the ribbon, find developer and have that checked. Press OK, and you'll notice this has now popped up. And the reason why we need to do this is it's because the only way we can insert checkboxes is with this functionality. So what we want to do here is we want to put insert, so in the developer ribbon, insert checkbox, and then we simply draw it in here. Okay, now what we'll need to do here is we want to edit the text, so we don't want any text at all. So I've just deleted that out. And now this is now checkable, okay? If you right click it, you get this kind of area, and then we can kind of move it into the center of the cell. Control C and Control V will enable us to copy it. We just need to do that for every single, copy. A little extra tip, you hold Control and then select them, then you can do 2 at a time until we get about 5. So let's just do the first 5. I'm going to do one more. Right click, Control V. So yeah, this may take a little bit of time to set up initially, but bear in mind you can use this kind of functionality for all the other templates that you set up going forward. So I want to get that aligned. It's slightly off. That's going to really annoy me. So bear with me 2 seconds. I think that's it. So now we've got 5 here. If I hold Control on my keyboard and just select all of these, then if I press Control C and Control V, those shortcuts, we're going to get 5 at a time. And then, sorry, I'm being a little bit pedantic with where I put these. but you get the idea. There may be a quicker way to do this, but this is what works for me. Now that's actually a little bit off. I'll just put this in for now. You get the idea. You get what you need to do here, okay? This is why buying my template might be easier, because you save all this faff. Anyway, the other thing I'd like to kind of suggest you do is make this, the column headings, one size bigger. I find that to be a little bit useful in kind of differentiating what the column headers are and the content that's below. The other thing that we can do is we can put, so I'm using this on the ribbon in the home area. We're using a fill color, and we can use that to, again, differentiate the column headers. I think this is a particularly useful color for this column. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build out the rest of the template for you, and then we'll delve into the content areas, which will be important for you. So the first one is going to be status, and that can be, again, on the task level or project level. We're going to have priority, and again I'm going to show you a nifty trick in a minute to add the formatting that we've just set up here to the whole column area. We're then going to have deadline. We are then going to put task. Okay, we are then going to put description, so the description of that task on the task level. Assign to, so an individual. I've spelled that incorrect. So who's responsible for it? We are then going to put a new area. Well, this is going to form into a new area, and we'll see this shortly. This is going to be deliverable, so what is being delivered. Percentage done. We are then going to have fixed cost, because we want to have an area where we can track costs as well, again on the task or project level. So we're going to have fixed cost here, estimated hours again for the completion of the task, and we're going to have actual hours. So actual versus completion, that will enable some tracking further down the line to see exactly whether we met our objectives. So I formatted this earlier. What we can now do is if we select this cell and press Format Painter, you'll get this little kind of paintbrush. If I now left click on my mouse and drag all across, it's going to apply that formatting to the rest of the columns. Another thing we can do is if we click this at the top, it selects every single cell and column in the workbook. If I now double left click on here, it's going to expand the columns to the appropriate width that match how kind of big these are. So as an example, estimated hours requires more of a column width than percentage done does. Okay, so we're going to do that, and I'm actually going to drag this one back because I want this to start a little bit earlier. So now another thing I'd recommend that you do, we're going to separate some different areas of this tracker. So the first one is above task, and we're going to call this project, and I'll put a little s because it could be one project or it could be multiple. And I'm going to merge and center up to here, and you'll see why we'll do this momentarily. I'm going to expand this up so it's a little bit bigger. I'm going to do 18 for now, always change it, and I'm going to put this in a lighter grey. Okay, now the next one we're going to do is deliverable. I'm going to merge this to percentage done, Format Painter, done, and then the last set is going to be cost and hours. So in here we're going to put cost hours. I'm going to merge these, and I'm going to hit this, and sorry I should have done that. Format Painter, done. So now we've got some different kind of areas, and what we can do at this stage is we could put some borders around it. So we're going to go all borders, and what you can then do here is put some borders around this. As you would have seen at the start of this video, the formatted template that you can purchase is all done for you, and it's all, in my opinion, it's all kind of perfected. I've spent a lot of time working on that template, so just bear that in mind. This is not going to look exactly the same, but this is just, I want to show you how you can create this template as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So that's the first thing we need to do. Okay, now what I'm going to recommend that we do, we're nearly getting there actually. There's not much, believe it or not, there's not much more that we can really do onto this template. There's a few other things, but not too much. The first thing we're going to do is add an area to add projects and tasks. Okay, so this is going to be what I'm essentially getting at here is by doing it like this, we can track kind of a whole project, or we can track it by task. And if I'd fill this out, it will make more sense. So task 1, task 2, task 3, task 4 and task 5. Of course, we could keep adding tasks. Projects could have multiple tasks, many tasks. You could even break this up by milestone and task. So you could put something like milestone 1, task 1, and you could actually then start using the indenting to kind of, have that kind of parent-child relationship if you wanted to. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do task for now. I just wanted to give you, some context as to how you can kind of adapt this to suit your own needs. I will indent that just so they're kind of aligned underneath. And what we're going to do here is select all of these cells, Control C, Control V, and I'll do it one more time. And I actually just need to get the borders all the way at the bottom now because I've expanded the content area. And this would be, you could put your project name. So if this was, say, project web launch, website launch, you could do that here. Whatever the project is called, you could put that in. But I'm just going to call it project A. Of course, we'd need to update that to project B and project C. And we need a couple more of these, don't we? So Control V, pop it down there. And the alignment's all off. But as I kind of mentioned, I'm not going to spend too much time. I'm actually going to leave them kind of a little bit wonky. So I'm fully aware that this is wonky, but as I say, I want some time, save you a bit of time there. I'm going to put this in no, we don't want that one. Sorry, we want a fill, and again, I'm going to suggest a kind of lighter grey. So we can then use the format painter and do that against each one. And this is just splitting out the projects. It's just making it a little bit more. We can see between the projects, and actually I'd probably recommend bolding these as well, just so we can kind of differentiate between them. Now we're nearly there really. There's not actually that much left, but there's there's a couple more things I want to show you. The first is I'm going to set up what's called as a freeze pane, so that when we scroll down, certain this content area remains. So to do that, select row 4. We then want to go to the, where is it? I think it's in review. No, view. Sorry, it's in view. Select the view, and then we're going to put freeze pane. So I've selected row 4, remember, and then I press freeze pane. And what this is going to now do is when I scroll down, so I'm in row 108 now, row 100 onwards, it's kept all of that. And I just think that's really, really useful for working in this template. So that's what I'd recommend that you do. You set up that freeze pane. Again, you don't necessarily have to. Again, you can turn that off by going to View, Freeze Pane, and just click Unfreeze Pane. So that's the first thing I'd recommend you do, just to make this template more applicable and useful for you. The second thing, I'm going to set up what's known as some data validation. And what that enables you to have is almost like drop downs. So instead of having to type in the priority every time or the status every time, they're kind of available for selection for anyone who's using this project tracker. And I'm going to be doing this by building out a key, and I'm going to do that on the right hand side. So the first thing we're going to have is we are going to have the status, and then we're going to have priority. So the statuses that I recommend that are useful for projects, again, could be different depending on your needs. We're going to have not started, we're going to have in progress, and again, this can be applicable to not only the project level, but the task level. So this is why this is really, really useful. We're going to have on hold, we're going to have complete and overdue. These are quite useful statuses to have. I'm going to move this across. I'm going to bold this and this. I'm going to put a little bit of this around it just to show you, that is a separate key. You could even put something like key here if you wanted to, and you could move these down. Just what you want to make this user friendly. So it may make sense to you, but anyone who maybe opens this up, somebody else may not be aware of how it all kind of works. So if you can kind of, you could actually put this in a separate tab if you wanted, but that's what I'm trying to get at. So in terms of priority, classic, low, medium, and high. And I'm going to put border around that as well. Let's do that. Now we need to set up the data validation. So what we want to do here is, this is a quick trick to get it applied to every single cell in the column, and then we can just remove it from those at the top because we won't want the drop down to appear in these 4. I found this to be the most quickest way. I'm sure there's, you can do it on a cell level, you can select, a cell range, but this is the most effective. So let's do status first. So what I recommend you do, select column C. We then want to click data at the top on the ribbon. We then want to click data validation and then the first option. Here in the settings, we want to put click this drop down and put list. So the source, this is the status, remember, is all of these here. So from not started down to overdue. I left click and dragged. You'll see it's kind of created this range. You could actually enter that manually, but it's tricky to remember and know how to do. So it's best to just drag. Press OK. And what it's going to now do is if I click on this, every single cell in this column, including these top ones, is going to have the ability to have not started, in progress, etc. Now, if I double click C, it's going to expand the column to meet the width of the data that we've now got in, because we now need to do that, because as you'll notice, it was too kind of narrow before. So that's what we can do. Now, we don't want the drop down to be here or here, but we do want it to be, all the way down here, just in case we add more projects and tasks. So to remove it from these cells, simply select all the cells you don't want that drop down. So it's C1 down to C3, data validation, click on data validation, and then just put any value. And then what that's going to do is it's remove that drop down from these cells we don't need it in, but it's applicable for every other cell in that column. So now you just need to do the same for priority. So let's do that again. Select column D. Let's now click data validation, list, source. This time it's the priority, so it's these 3 here. I left clicked on my mouse and dragged from low down to high. It's created the range in the source area. Press OK. And now we have the priorities, which is brilliant. So, and again, we can do this on the, on the project level. Let's just put this as that. And then what I'd actually recommend that you do is actually make this whole row bold, okay? And I'll do that for all of them as well. Just so it, as you can see, it differentiates the project level from the task level. And you could even select all of this and you could indent it as well. So you could do this, home, indent. If that makes life easier for you, it might make it look more visually appealing, it might not. But I'm presenting options to you. Okay, so we've got the priority in. We just need to remove it from these cells because, again, we don't want, that in here. We could, but I just think it looks a bit messy. So to do that, select those cells, data validation, and we're going to put any value. Okay, getting there. We're nearly there. Of course, the rest is just for manual data entry, unless you wanted to put, you could have a list of certain assignees. You could do that as another area in your key, and you could do the data validation there. Description, we probably want a bit more room in here. We're describing the task or the project here. So this could be project to create the website. This could be buy the domain name. This could be build the website. You get the idea. Percentage done. You could change this to a... well, let's actually start with this one first. You could change this to right click on the column and you could click format cells and you could change this to a date and you could change the type you want. Again, that's probably just more for kind of visual. But then if I click on here and I put in, say, the 25th, I'm using any date that springs to mind here, of Nov. Oh, I can't have done that properly. I didn't put it in the right format, sorry. Let's just click on this. Then it should update it. No, it doesn't recognize Nov. If I put November, okay, I've messed that up. Ignore the last couple of things I've said. If I put 2511, yeah, it's updated it to that format. Sorry, it didn't recognize what I put in there. So if I quickly just change that to the top one, then you get the idea. It's in date format. So if I put 1001, you see what I mean? It kind of puts that in there. So I would recommend changing the deadline to the date format. You could do on percentage done. You could change the format cells to number. You could put decimal places in if you wanted. Percentage is a good one for this actually. Sorry, obviously. Now, if I put that, it's going to add the percentage every single time. So I've just typed in 7 and it's added the percentage. Just saves a little bit of time. So change column J to the percentage. Fixed cost, you could put this in a currency. So you could right click and go format cells, and there's a currency option. You could change the currency. You might tell by my accent I'm British, so we've got pounds, but you could put that in anything you wanted, probably dollars. And you could do other things here with estimated natural. You could put a couple of decimal places in. So you've got those options. Now the final thing I'm going to quickly show you is conditional formatting, and that's really, really useful for just bringing bits of data out as you use your project tracker and making it, it draws your eyes to the right places. So as an example, anything that's overdue or high priority, you could put in red as an example so that it stands out and you can quickly see any project or task that needs attention. So to create some conditional formatting, I won't put all the conditional formatting rules in because that will just take too much time, and I'm sure your needs differ, but I'll show you how to create them, which is the important thing. So to do that, you go on Home, on the Home ribbon, and you click Conditional Formatting. Then what you need to do is set up some rules. So if I click Manage Rules, I don't have any in here at the moment. So what I want to do, if I go back to Conditional Formatting, New Rule. Now what you need to do is, you don't need to, I would suggest that you use format only cells that contain. So any cell that I put equal to, so now anything that's equal to overdue, we want to, now you click the format button, we want to appear in a red. So make sure fill is selected. So all these options at the top, make sure the last one fill is selected. I'm going to put red. And I'm going to press OK. I'm going to press OK again. And let's go on Manage Rules. So we need this to be this worksheet. So, okay. No, sorry. The reason why that didn't work, Manage Rules, we need this to be this worksheet, and applies to, that needs to be the entire worksheet. So if I select this and then put that, press apply, every time overdue is seen, it will go in a red. So if I put overdue in here, also has gone to red. Brilliant. Excellent. So you could do that for every single status. So anything that's complete. So again, let's go through conditional formatting. If I go Manage Rules, and if I put this worksheet and then go New Rule, format only cells that contain. So we want to be complete. So cell value equal to complete. This has got to obviously be exactly the same here. So if it's completed, then it won't work if complete. You see what I mean? It's got to match, essentially. It's got to be able to find the exact text in the sheet. So we're going to put this in a green, press OK, press OK again. Now we want this to be the entire. So at the moment, what this is essentially saying applies to is it's only looking. It'll only go green if cells within this range has that text. But we want this to be the entire worksheet. So just change this. So now I've done one already. We can select all of that and press Control and C and go back in here and press Control V. Or alternatively, you can press this button and then select that. Left click on your mouse, the far left button here with this kind of triangle, and then press Enter. And that's just basically selecting every cell in the workbook. Press Apply, press OK. So here we go. So at the moment, this is, you could actually change the text to be in a white. You could have this bolded as well if you wanted to. So just thought I'd mention that. So you can now work through all of these. We can have on hold in a yellow, say. In progress, might make sense to be a blue. So think about the statuses and think about what colours make sense. That's what I would suggest that you do. As I say, the templates can have all this in place. And maybe just go to the start of the video and you can see the colours that I've used. And then you can do the same for priority as well. So I'd probably suggest having different colours to the status, just to make sure there's not, confusing. You don't want, say, two reds, or your eyes could just be a little bit, it doesn't really make sense. So make sure they're kind of different colours. But yeah, that's how to create a project tracker in Excel. I hope this video has been useful. As I say, link in the description below if you wanted to pick up this template. It's going to be less than a cup of coffee, and you're going to get all this without having to build it. But if you're still here with this video, chances are you've already got this built. But as I say, hopefully this has been useful. If not, go back to the start of the video and you can kind of copy it from that screen, pause the video and kind of copy it from there. Hopefully you picked up some Excel tricks as well along the way. But with that said, thank you for watching. Please like this video if it was useful. That helps to tell me I should produce more videos like this, and do consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. I've got so much project management content on there, especially around building project artifacts like this, project plans, those kind of things, project roadmaps. So I'm hoping that they're useful for you. But with all of that said, I hope you have an excellent day.